Welcome back, knitters. This is Contemplative Knitting, episode 11, and I'm happy you've joined me in the new year, 2023. So, I do have a bit of an update for you. I want to let you know how my work in progress, the Stars of Barbro, is going. Check that out. I was hoping I would be wearing it the next time I did a podcast, but and I've gotten quite a ways on this, and I will talk about it in a minute. But I had something special I wanted to share with all of you, and I didn't want to wait until the end of January. I want to let you know that I'm doing an in person overnight retreat the first weekend in February. So it starts that Friday night. People can come and they can have some dinner, and then we're going to have some opening knitting ceremonies, and we will spend our time together talking about contemplative knitting. So this is for anybody. I mean, contemplative knitting can be just a form of meditation. It can be a form of prayer. It can be a form of relaxation. I take a chaplain approach, so whatever it needs to be for you is what I want to help you accomplish. So I have a process and a method for teaching how to use your knitting, either to deepen your spiritual life or to create some calmness in your life, or whatever it is that you need. Because if you love to knit, knitting is a great way of helping you achieve some of those goals. So Friday night we'd have arrival and check-in, and then we're going to have introductions and some retreat logistics, and then some free knitting time. And then on Saturday, the first session will be how to set up a daily knitting practice. And then we'll have some project sharing. So everyone would bring projects to share and to show, and do some show and tell and look at it, what everybody's knitting. Then after lunch, we talk about how to sustain your knitting practice that we talk about setting up in the morning. And then we'll have like yarn book, tools, yarn exchange, then dinner, and then some free time to chat and talk about knitting and talk to each other about all our cool stuff. And then in the morning there would be breakfast and closing circle, and we would go home. That would be on Sunday morning. So it's at this place called the Grail on Cornwall on the Hudson, and it's a historic building where a group of women got together around social justice issues, and they lived in community, and they are kind of aging out, and so they have rented this facility to a ministry called Rural and Migrant Ministry, which is a nonprofit that helps migrant workers in New York State. So I'm on the board, and so we can use the building, and all the proceeds from the retreat, the knitting retreat, will go to Rural and Migrant Ministry, mainly to help women who are isolated on farms and who may not speak English, and who need to have a group to belong to, and leadership development skills. And we have a rural women's assembly every year to help them further their development and their well-being. So that's the hope. It's a historic building, so it's not super in the lap of luxury. You can get a single room or a double room or a triple room. It's all with a shared bathroom, but it should be really fun and create a real sense of community. So I hope you can join me there. If you're interested, please send me an email at julie.sikora@gmail.com. So julie.cicora@gmail.com. And I'll put my email address in the description box. So you can just click on it, and hopefully you can join me at the retreat. So let me start with what I'm wearing, which is out of the archives, an oldie but goodie. I think this came out of Vogue magazine forever and ever ago. So I won't spend too much time on it because I don't know how you could get the pattern, but it was a very cool construction. This is kind of a separate piece that you knit, and it goes all the way around, and then you knit down on the back by picking up stitches and knitting down this lovely cabled thing. So you can see that's how it goes. Pick up stitches and then just, it's all stock net. So it's a very different kind of construction. Again, I won't spend a lot of time on it because I don't even know what Vogue Knitting magazine it came from. So probably not something you can do, but you kind of join this piece at the top and then pick up stitches here and then knit down. So it was a fun construction. It's super warm. I think it's Aran weight, and it's a good like kind of bathrobe-y type sweater to put on in the cold winter months, windy cold winter months. All right, so back to my lovely, I can never remember the name of this sweater. Thank goodness for the Stars of Barbro. This is a fun knit. So I did do the short rows, so I've got a little bit longer in the back. The color work is just on the yoke. This is a roll down collar, and it has ribbing and then an I-cord cast off on the bottom. And now I'm doing the sleeves, and there is a sleeve detail with this acorn, which is by Meg's and Fiber Company, hand dyed. So the yellow orange, the yellowish orange is called acorn, and then this gorgeous hand dyed kind of variegated blue is called shoreline, and it's DK weight, so it's knitting up pretty quickly. And I'm using a size 6 needle for the large needle and a 4 for the ribbing and stuff. The pattern is very clear. It's super fun. I'm really looking forward to wearing it. My birthday's the end of January, so I'm hoping I can get it done for my birthday. I'm sure I'll be wearing it in the next podcast. So if you want a nice DK color knit sweater, this is great. In the pattern that, again, it's a paid for pattern and it's on Ravelry. I love the women that they show. So this woman has got the light for the stars and that kind of contrast, and I think it's beautiful. And you can sort of see the detail on the sleeve, which I think just makes it really cool. So I totally recommend this pattern. It's been so much fun to knit, and I love the yarn, and I'm super excited. I talked about it last time, how this sweater pattern kind of kept haunting me, and then I saw it again and I went for it, and man, am I glad I did. So I've been working on that. I've decided in 2023 that I want to work through parts of my stash, and my stash is all in projects. So I don't typically buy yarn with no idea of what I want to make. I usually have a pattern in mind, and then I'll go seek out yarn. So some things have been in my stash for a while. So I pulled out this one project, and it is a design by Martin Story. I love Martin Story's design. I've knitted other Martin Story designs, and I got this pattern a long time ago for my youngest son who likes to wear cardigans. And I'd never shown it to him because for me it was going to be a surprise to knit it for him, but he I think I bought this yarn, started knitting this, I don't know, 10-15 years ago. It's out of this book called 22 Hand Knit Designs for Him and Her Using Rowan Yarns. I love that sweater too. Isn't that gorgeous? And then here's a sweater on the back, another kind of fisherman's knit, sort of gorgeous cable sweater. Martin Story does incredible cables. So I did buy the Rowan yarn, and I have the bag here. It is Creative Focus worsted. This is a 100-gram ball. I'm not sure if it says, it's got a lot number. And man, it is old because it's from the Village Yarn Store. If anyone's watching from Rochester, New York, that's been defunct a while. Ugh, I miss those guys. made in Peru. Doesn't really show a color, um, but there's a lot of wonderful worsteds out there. It does have, it's kind of blue with flecks of purple in it. Maybe you kind of get an idea. And it's very soft. It's a four row pattern, and it has you wrap and then you drop stitches, and it creates like what I would call a herringbone. I'm knitting it on straight needles. How long has that been? So anyway, here it is. There's a little cable pattern in it, and so it's kind of like there's some herringbone, cable, and that's how it goes. So you achieve these herringbones by wrapping the yarn around the needle twice, and then on the next row you cable over two, and that wrap then makes a really elongated stitch, and that's how you create the herringbone. I think it's cool. So I've restarted it, and I'm kind of making myself do 4 rows a day, and it's taking a while. This is going to be a real labor of love. I haven't done my 4 rows today, but so that's what I'm trying to do. I didn't recall it being so time consuming, and maybe it's because I haven't knit with straight needles in a long time, and I've thought about putting them on circulars and going back and forth, but I don't know. We'll see. So I picked a hard one to kind of start down this going to knit through my stash routine, but I did show it to my son, and he thought it was really cool, so I'm motivated, sort of, to do it. So we'll see where that goes. So that's kind of one of my works in progress. I have a lot of other things that I'm thinking about. I have started another work in progress. So one of my favorite people died in September. My aunt, she was married to my mother's brother, my uncle. My mom's one of 7. He was the youngest. So there was my mother, and then a brother, a sister, a brother, and then twins. So my grandmother's 6th pregnancy were twins. Can you imagine? Paul and Pauline. So Paul's wife died in September of breast cancer, and she was only 73, and she had 2 sons, and that was her vocation, was to be a mother. And so one of her sons had gotten married, I think it was just over a year ago, and now his wife is pregnant. And my uncle said, well, Nina would be getting out the knitting needles, so Julie got out the knitting needles, and with the help of my daughter-in-law, like I had picked out a pattern for to knit for her, and my daughter-in-law said, maybe not that. So I've come to realize that my 65-year-old taste is not the same as someone in their late 20s, early 30s. So I got help from my daughter-in-law, who said, here's the pattern you should make. And she found it she's not on Ravelry, she's not a knitter, but she found it on not Instagram. It's the place where Pinterest. And I went, oh my God, it's on Pinterest. So anyway, this is the pattern that she chose. It's by Tin Can Knits. So I'm doing the blanket, but if I have enough left over, I'll probably do the sweater as well. So it is a pattern by Tin Can Knits, and I will tell you the name of it. And they're always good, right? So it's called the Bounce. It is called the Bounce, and it's by Tin Can Knits, and it's just, I've started knitting it, and it's a blast. It is a blast. So it's got 12 rows of pattern, and I wasn't super original. I kind of like, so this is one end. It's got the navy and then this other color. So I brought white. So my daughter-in-law, the pattern showed like a cream. She says, no, I think it needs to be white. So this white is it's It's called Igloo, I believe. It's Blue Sky Fibers, and it's a 100-gram ball, so I had to get 2 of those. Actually, 55% superwash wool and 45% organic cotton, and it's Igloo. So I got 2 of these, and she thought the white would be better than the cream. And I thought the cotton was a good idea because the baby is due in June, so I didn't want to have like just a wool blanket. So I've got this dark, which is what I started with, and of course I don't know what happened to the tag with that color. Maybe not. Nope, not sure. Then I got this color. So I've got this, then I'm doing this, which I'm doing right now. And this color is called Moonlight. Then I go to sort of a turquoise color. This color is called, this is Spud and Chloe because they hadn't changed their name yet on this. And this, not sure what color this is called. Anyway, doesn't really say. Interesting. Water Slide. Yep, it's Water Slide. That's kind of a cool name for a color. And then last but not least, a lighter one. So I've got these 4 colors, which I think is going to be fun. I am making the smaller version of the blanket. There's 2 sizes. And this light color is called Splash. That's fun. So each pattern, each color plus the white is 12 rows. So this is up to there is 12 rows. Then you start over with the 12 rows. And you know, it's interesting. It's just fun. I always put markers in between the repeats, so so I can track and go back and look immediately, did I do that repeat correctly? So anyway, I'm knitting this in Nina's memory, and I have done that kind of thing before. I think it's really special when you have a gift like knitting and then you can use it to help somebody get through their grief, and it helps me get through my grief because I think about her as I knit it. So that's my works in progress. I've got to finish this this star sweater is what I call it, and continue slogging through that cardigan by Martin Story. Maybe it'll get faster as I kind of remember how to do the 4 rows instead of having to look down at the paper. And I'm doing like 12 rows every other day on that baby blanket just to get it done because I don't want to miss that deadline. So other works in progress, which I'm hoping I will have some done. I know I talked in the last podcast about the second sock syndrome of that beautiful hand-painted sock yarn that I have. So the blue wavy sock, which is what I call it, and that's the blue wavy sock, which I showed last time. I have done the ribbing, which is a scalloped ribbing, which I think is just really pretty. Isn't that pretty? Way to start a sock instead of just plain old ribbing. Anyway, I'm going to New York City on the train. My husband and I are going to take the train, and we're meeting 2 of our children and 6 grandchildren in the city. So 7 hours there, 7 hours back. I'm bringing this. I really want to bring a sweater to knit on, but I figure if I bring the sock, it might get done. And in addition, because God forbid I ever get caught somewhere without enough knitting to do, I'm doing these, the mitts for the beeswax mitts, which I talked about last podcast because I had finished the hat. So I've started the mitts, super small little needles, but you can see the honeycomb pattern. So these are fingerless mitts. Here's my little gauge swatch. I didn't do all 4 inches. but I got enough information about how much or what the needle size I should use. So those two projects I think are going to go to New York and so that's like 14 hours of knitting. Not that I can knit for 7 hours in a row, but between that and maybe in the hotel or sitting around waiting, I'll get a good chunk of that done. So is that enough works in progress? I think so. So I do want to touch quickly on my dream knitting. And of course, this comes with a story. So when we went to hike the Dolomites, we landed in Venice, and we spent 2 days in Venice just to get acclimated to the time change. And of course, I had to go to a yarn store, and they had one which was on a canal, of course. I mean, Venice is just all canals. And it's a walking city, which makes it really fun. And I went into this yarn store, super small, very European, typical yarn store, not very large. Like there's no place to sit and knit. And of course, the woman spoke beautiful English, and I was attracted to this yarn, which she had said just come in and had been hand dyed for her particular store. And it's soft cashmere, soft exclusively for Bella, and it's lace weight. So you can see it's kind of very fine. It's 100% cashmere, and oh my gosh, is it soft or what? 770 yards, 50 grams. So that's a lot of yardage for 50 grams. It is really soft. So I didn't want to really, I was thinking, well, I could do 2 strands. And now that I'm processing this out loud, I did buy at Liftbridge Yarns, which is my local yarn store, and I just love that place. Oh my God, it's one of the best yarn stores, and I travel all over the place. They have everything, and they have the best, most wonderful owners and staff. And I go to their sit and knit on Thursday mornings, and I just have such a good time. But this is spun right round. I bought this mohair. It's a mohair silk, 72% kid mohair, 28% silk. It's hand dyed, and this color is iris. So it's kind of a purple. And this is, although it looks very blue, there are some purple tints in this that the camera doesn't pick up. So I did wind it into, I wound both of them up. And I did a swatch, which I blacked. And the pattern I did the swatch for was the Cumulus pullover by Petite Knit, and I made gauge. But now I'm thinking it's soft, but it's not cashmere soft. I mean, it's got the mohair, right? Now that I'm refeeling this, maybe I want to do that Cumulus out of this cashmere held double. I'll just save the mohair I bought for something else, which that wouldn't be so bad. That means I'd have to buy more yarn to go with the mohair to do something different. But I don't, it's not that I don't like the feel of this. It's a beautiful fabric, but this is so soft. Oh, it doesn't have, obviously wouldn't have the halo. I'm going to do another swatch. Stay tuned. Oh, so that's kind of it. I got to go pick up some grandkids off the bus because their daycare provider is taking this week off in January. So I got to head down the road. I hope you can join me at the retreat. Get some friends, get yourself a triple room. I promise you the food will be good. We have a good chef there. He's a great guy. It'll be fun. It'll be cozy. we can just immerse ourselves in knitting and then some silence and rest and relaxation. It is Spartan. We do have shared bathrooms and all of that, but it would be like one big fun knitting kind of sleepover. And I'd love to meet you in person. So if you have an opportunity, again, I think I have to look. Let me look at the pricing, because if you've hung in there this long with me, um, you'll want to know, because maybe you are intrigued. But if you want a single, it's $650 for the weekend. A double is $550, and a triple is $500. So if that's kind of steep, and I know it is a fundraiser, part of that would be tax deductible. So we can send you the part that doesn't cover the expenses. I'm not charging anything. As a matter of fact, I'm paying the single fee to go and teach it, because I believe so much in the organization. I hope you join me, and if not, I will see you end of January, beginning of February, or maybe broadcast from the retreat. Thanks. Thanks for coming by.